Is it spring yet?
Oh, don't you dare look back, just keep your eyes on me. I said you're holding back. She said shut up and dance with me. This woman is my destiny. She said ooh, shut up and dance with me. We were victims of the night.
Hello, and welcome to episode 44 of KnitScents. My name is Jan, and you can find me as Jan Ellen RN on Ravelry, on Instagram. Where else am I? There's this new social thing, Vero, I think it's called, and I'm Jan Ellen RN on there too, but I'm not really on there. I keep forgetting to check it. We also have a KnitScents Facebook group, and I will put that down here. I think it's just facebook.com/KnitScents. And we have a KnitScents podcast group on Ravelry, so I hope you will come and join us over there. Oh boy, it's been a couple of weeks, I know. It's been a wild couple of weeks around these parts here. We've had one nor'easter after the next. It's like just as we're melted and it gets a little warm outside, all of a sudden it snows again. And the first three weren't terrible. One was more wind and one was more snow. But this past week, originally it said, yeah, the fourth nor'easter is coming, blah, blah, blah. And, it started out with like 1 to 3 inches. And when they say that makes me nervous. I actually am less nervous when they say like 5 to 7, because when they start high, they usually end up coming down. When they start low, there's only one way to go with that one. And it was supposed to start snowing late Monday night, I think, or Tuesday morning. I got it Tuesday, and actually there was no snow, nothing. It started late in the morning, and it snowed all day. And by Tuesday night, we only had maybe 3-4 inches. And we were supposed to get, at that point, they were giving 19 inches, whatever it was. And I'm like, well, it's only 3 or 4 inches outside. It's not that bad. So we had, cleaned it up down to blacktop and cleaned the cars off and everything. Woke up the next morning and there was a foot of snow on the ground. I'm like, oh God. And the funny thing was, and I was ready to I was ready to just literally sit here because it's the end of March. I figured it can't last that long. It's got to melt, right? At some point. And literally by the end of that day, half of it had already melted. So I'm like, why am I going to break my back plowing this? And it isn't going to be here soon. So the upshot is there's still snow outside and whatnot, but most of it has melted, and I think hopefully it's calmed down now. But it's still cold outside. I mean, somebody said it's supposed to be near 50 or in the 50s later this week, and you would think getting close to April, it should be a little bit warmer than that. But on the bright side, baseball is starting soon. So I am definitely looking forward to that, the boys of summer. So that's a good sign. If not the snow, baseball is a good sign that summer and the end of the snow is on its way. So that's pretty much what's been going on around here. I was pulling everything together. You would think with 4 snow days and all of this time that I would have made more progress, which I did not, as you will see. But what I did do on one of the days, you start to get cabin fever, and I guess spring cleaning was my way of saying, well, it is spring, so I'm going to just clean. I tore apart my room just like a wild woman. And I've got the backache to prove it. I was aching the next 2 days and days. I didn't even know I didn't even know I had. But I wanted to reorganize. Wait, chair noise. I have my feet up on the chair, but my legs are very short in case. There you go. Sorry. You don't know. I'm vertically challenged. I like to think of it as being fun sized, as opposed to being short. I like it as fun size, I think is a lot nicer way to say it. So my legs don't reach. But now that I've digressed already, I had already done that major frogging and I had all my yarn packed away, but I have this cabinet and things were flying out of it. And the worst part of everything was just the bags of the whips that I had left over were just piled up, and I had to just get through everything. So, you know, I'm kind of like, in one sense, the last two times that this major cleaning thing came over me, it ended up where, I don't know, I saw a little dust somewhere and started to take something apart. And the upshot of it is the whole thing ended with me selling the house and moving. That happened twice. All because it started when I started cleaning and decided, okay, it's time to move. Fortunately, that didn't happen this time. But I ended up just literally reorganizing, moving stuff and whatnot. And the reason I mention all of this is because I had stopped at a local yarn store I had never been to before in Brooklyn. It's not really local. And I wanted to show the yarn that I got. And as usual, what happens when I clean up and put things away, I couldn't find it. I could not find it to save my life. It ended up, I hadn't put it away. It was still in a knitting bag. So that should give you some kind of an idea of what's been going on around here. It's been 2 steps forward, 3 steps backwards. I hope the rest of you have been faring a little bit better. So what do we have this week? I have knitting. I have a spinning FO. What else? And I do have some stash enhancement. And I think that's it. I don't have any finished objects, unfortunately. So let's jump in with the knitting. Oh, my socks, my poor socks. I don't even know why I bother to show these, seriously. I mean, they're not going anywhere. I feel like every time I pull them out, they've got like 4 more rows than the time before. But I feel bad if I don't, because I actually did work on these. These are like doctor's office and hair salon. Literally, socks. That's when they get worked on. So basically you can tell by the amount of progress, which in this case, from last week, maybe it's a dozen rows. You can tell. Didn't have many appointments. Only went to the hair place once. So not much progress. This is what, oh, we're still on Bing Crosby and the Andrews Sisters. We haven't made any progress on that. From Desert Vista Dye Works. And I like the socks. I really would like to get these kind of done. That's where that went. I've been looking all over for that little progress keeper. It's a little teacup with a lemon. I think this is Sucre. Where did I get this? I think I bought this one at Rhinebeck, actually. I think I got this one at Rhinebeck. So there's very little progress on that. But I actually, and I'm going to try it one more time. I had been knitting them on these, which these are the Crazy Trio ones. I actually have had these for a while. I know they've come into the States now, and they're a lot more. Oh my, finding needles all over the place. They're a lot more available now, and I think here they're called, oh, I don't know what they're called here. In Europe, they're the Addy Crazy Trio. They're not flip sticks here. I don't know. Both the same needle is the upshot of it. And I know I've shown these before. They kind of work like a cross between double points and 2 circular needles. You put half on one needle, half on the other needle, and then you knit with the 3rd needle. And each one has a different tip on either end. There's a sharper tip. Let's see if I can get that in there. I can compare them. Let's see. There's the sharper. What am I doing? I'm holding up 2 needles. I gotta get my act together today. I really do. Okay, this is the same needle, and you can see 2 different points on it. Okay, so you have your sharper tip, which is more tapered, and then your regular turbo tip, which is over here. I mean, I do prefer the sharper tip, but to be perfectly honest, I don't really, that's not my biggest issue with these needles. My biggest problem with these is getting that back needle to stay out of the way when I'm knitting. And I have to keep pushing the stitches onto the working needle because you need them to stay in this flexi part to get this needle out of the way. And then when you go to work on the needle with the stitches in the middle, you kind of almost have to shove them along. So I still haven't made up my mind on these. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna give them one more try. Emmy, what are you doing? Emmy, what in the world is in your mouth? Okay, hold on one second, right back. Sorry, I saw her sneaking out with something very large and wooden looking in her mouth. I still don't know what it is. She's obviously going back in there to look for more. Emma, for those of you that don't know, Emma is my little dachshund who on Thanksgiving had a collapse, I guess. Her back went and she had surgery. So she's been making some slow progress. She's been doing better on her back legs and stuff. And since she's been more mobile, she's back to getting herself into trouble again. And I don't know what she found. I got it out of her mouth, thank goodness. But yeah, so that's Emma. But anyway, I believe I was saying with the needles, I'm going to give them another try. I'm going to say for now that these might be a better fit for a looser knitter. That might be part of the problem is, and I'm not a tight knitter, I'm just an average knitter. But I'm thinking if you're a looser knitter, you may not have that problem. And you can see, it's not that it's not a smooth join, but there's a pretty big size difference getting over from the cord onto the thickness of the needle. And again, I guess it depends on what size needle you use. I always knit my socks on a 2.25. So it's a size 1 in the States. Again, Addie does not have a number for a 2.25. They just call it 2.25. So again, with Addie's, and particularly if you're buying these and want to try them in the States, it's the same thing. If you use a 2.25, don't ask for a size 1 needle. Order a size 1 needle because that would be a 2.5 in Addie's. Addie in the lower sizes has a little bit different than the American size needles. So again, if you knit on 2.25, you need to order a 2.25, not a size 1. Anyway, the jury is still out on these needles, but we're leaning towards, not so sure these are for me. I will say, though, that I might try knitting something else in the round with these before I completely give up on them. So that's where we're at with that. So we've actually now spent, I don't know how long, talking about something I made no progress on. What else do we have here? I don't know if I showed this last week. I had chair noise. Those of you who are new viewers, this is a really high-tech, high-budget podcast here. I have a laptop, 2 outlights, and everything's sort of balanced on my kitchen table. Usually something goes flying. We hope we don't have damage from it. We've had that before. But my chair, I put these pads on. I can't stop that chair noise. And it irritates me to death, so I can only imagine someone with earbuds. So I try to warn you when I'm about to move the chair, because it's just the most annoying sound on this tile floor. Anyway, I dug out my Millie sweater, and I didn't even realize how far I had gotten on it before it went and sat in the whip bag. So here's Millie. It is a pattern by Nice and Knit. I believe the yarn I'm using is Nice and Knit. And when I pulled it out, I was just literally almost done with one sleeve, and all I had left was to pick up and knit the other sleeve. Lord, it's not my hair, it's dog hair. So I'm literally just working on the cuff on the first sleeve, and then I have the other sleeve to pick up and knit, and then I'm done. Why I put it down, something else must have been new and shiny, and it went in the corner, and I hate when I do that, when it's like almost finished. It's like, just take a couple of hours or a couple of days, finish the silly thing and move on, because this is the perfect spring summer sweater. This yarn that I'm using is Nice and Knit. It's their fingering. The color I'm using is Eastham, and it's a generous 490 yards of superwash merino, so you can put this in the machine. It says machine washable, air dry flat, and I'm knitting this on, is it size 6 or size 7 needles? You would think I would have checked before, but like I said, this is a low-tech. Here, let's see. Size 5s and size 7s. The cuff is on 5, the body of the sweater is on size 7, and the reason I mention that is because this is knit to a very, very loose gauge, which makes this very, very light and airy for spring. So that's why I really would like to finish this, because I don't think I'd be wearing this in 85 degrees, but I certainly would wear it on a 65-degree day. It's a nice short, you know, well, I'm going to say 3/4 sleeve, because I think by the time I'm done, it's going to be a 3/4 sleeve. But it's very, very lightweight because it's knit to such an open gauge. But I don't think, now I could be wrong, and I've got my hand back here, I don't think you would have to wear something under it, because to me, that would be almost defeating the purpose of knitting the lightweight sweater. If you have to wear something underneath it, then you're going to get too warm. So to me, this is the perfect spring-summer sweater. I think the color is really great for spring too. So I did do a little bit on the sleeve, but I've been obsessed with, what the heck is all over me? What are you doing? He's eating something else. I'm telling you, his dog is in a dog's vacuum cleanup. Obviously, I have spotted myself and stained my clothes, probably from picking up the dog. She slobbered all over me. There you go. Okay, so that got a little bit of love in the interim. I cast on a new project. I cast on, and this is in the spirit of doing the knit along for SSK. For those of you that aren't familiar, SSK, Super Summer Knit Together, is a retreat that's put on by the Knit Girls. This will be the 7th year. It's usually like the 3rd-ish week in July in Nashville. This will be my 7th year going, and I feel just blessed to have gone, and all 6 years so far, and to be going again this year, because I look forward to this event every single year. I have never been disappointed. It gets better and better. The teachers are great. The girls just do everything to make people just feel comfortable. And it's a very laid back, low-key event if you want it to be, or you can, you know, it's really up to you. But it's a low stress, low key, really fun. Just, if you're looking for making new friends, new knitting friends, this is a place to go. I mean, comparing it like to when I went to Vogue Knitting Live, that was a very intense, in the classes, everything was tight, it was intense, the classes were wonderful, but it was very crowded, it was very intense, it was very frenzied type of environment, whereas this is just exactly the total opposite. It's kind of come and go as you want. If you want to take a break, you go back to your room. And I've now gone on and on about this, but the point is they have a knit along that they do prior to the event so that you can earn tickets for door prizes. And usually what they do is they give you X amount of tickets per yards of yarn that you use, and you knit either you knit a pattern from one of the instructors, and you get extra tickets if you use yarn from one of the vendors. I think I explained that right. Anyway, I decided that there was a pattern by Isabell Kraemer, who is going to be one of the teachers, that would be perfect for summer because it's knit out of cotton and it's basically just a cotton tee. And it didn't look too difficult. So that is, the pattern name is Darlene. Now, my lights are going to wash it out. And it's basically just a t-shirt with garter stitch details, like garter stitch stripes on it. And the little cap sleeve is kind of knit in a really unique way. It's actually where you start with the sleeve. I'm going to show you so because I can't really explain it. So anyway, so that's what prompted me to make a trip into Brooklyn, because they actually carry Quince & Company. The pattern calls for Quince & Company Willet, which is their 100% cotton yarn. And I had just used Willet for the Baby Nova sweater that I knit, test knit for Laura Nelkin. And I'm not a cotton lover. I don't like knitting with cotton. This changed my mind, this Willet. I loved it. I really loved knitting with it. And I mean, I guess you could tell it wasn't wool because it didn't have the bounce really. But I mean, if somebody had just handed me a skein of it and told me to knit something with it, I wouldn't say, oh, this is cotton, I'm not going to do it. It was really, really, really nice to knit with. So I went to the Argyle yarn shop in Brooklyn and got 6 skeins, I think, of Quince & Company Willet. This is the color grown, so it's 100% cleaner cotton, and this is in what they call the pistachio colorway. Now I'm holding it up, and as I'm looking at it in the natural light, I can actually see the green tinge to it. And I'm looking, you know, through the camera, and it is getting washed out a bit. I guess if I hold it back here, you can see that it's got a green tinge to it. It's like a natural color, and I believe that this particular, they have 2 different kinds of cotton, and one of them called the cleaner cotton. I believe they're naturally dyed. I could totally be making that up. But all I can say is in the store, and you know, when I was knitting it, not in the brightest of light or whatever, it kind of just looked like a natural color to me. And then I put my swatch that I had knit. Yes, I did swatch. I learned from my weekender swatch. And when I went to wash the swatch, the thing turned green. I mean, green. Like, I put it in water and I was like, oh my God. It was like those color changing mugs, you know, when they go from one color to the other. And I'm like, is it going to stay that color? It did not. It went right back to this color. But it was just really interesting to see how it just visibly went to a dark green in the water. And then as it dried, it lightened back up again. But again, this is the Quince & Company Willet. If you are looking to knit something, a tank top, a summer top, anything out of a cotton, I cannot recommend this highly enough. It is really soft. It is not hard on your hands. I know some cottons can really hurt your hands when you're knitting with it. That's why I gave up. I gave up with the dishcloths, with all of that stuff, because it was killing my hands. Not this. I highly recommend it. So moving on to more important things, I cast on the sweater. And it's a very interesting construction because you start at, of course, again, I'm showing the wrong side. You start at the sleeve. This is the little cap sleeve. And you do short rows. And then I think I cast on some stitches and then did short rows back and forth. I don't really remember because I haven't worked on this in a little while. This is essentially the front. So you end up just casting on with a cable cast on, I believe it was, doing some short rows, doing the shoulder shaping, and then casting on. And now I'm basically going down and doing some body shaping while I'm knitting down the front. I didn't make too much progress because I got obsessed with my squared. And the deadline for the SSK Cal is, I think, April 14th. It's something along those lines. I really should have point protectors on here because you know the needles, it's all going to come flying off. So Magic 8 Ball is telling me this isn't really looking too good to get it done on time. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to try because, again, this would be a perfect sweater to wear in the summer. It is 100% cotton. It is knit to a loose enough gauge that you don't have to wear something underneath it, but I think this would be really comfortable. Again, it's just that little cap sleeve, so I think this is like the perfect summer t-shirt. So I really would like to get it done. So maybe when I finished my squared, which is coming up next, I'll pick this back up and hopefully zip through it because I would love to get it in for the knit along, but I also would like to wear it for the summer. So that one and my, what did I say, Millie sweater are two sweaters I'd really like to get finished. And now on to what got the most love. She's trying to get into the sofa where it swings up because that's like her favorite place to sit. You know those reclining chairs? She likes to sit on the part where your feet go. And she's literally sitting there pawing at the chair thinking it's going to open. This dog is obviously too much time on your hands there, sweetie. Come here. Come here. Want to say hi? No? You're mad at me for taking away the wood. Oh, come on. Come on. Come on. Oh, come on. I know you can't jump. Come here. Come here, sweetie. Oh, come say hello. Come say hello. Yeah. Say hi, Emmy. Oh, you still got wood hanging from your mouth here. That's my little dachshund, Emmy. She's 3 years old, right? How old are you? Are you 3? Oh, say hi. Mm-hmm. Say hello. Yeah. She had a hemilaminectomy in November. It was the day after Thanksgiving. Right? Yes. I love you. I love you too. Yes. And she has been going for acupuncture treatments. In fact, she has an appointment tomorrow. They stopped them a month or so ago. She's still on medication, so he will check her tomorrow. She still has very limited movement in her back legs, but she scoots around and she manages to get into all kind of trouble, right? Yeah, those little innocent eyes, don't let them deceive you. All right, go find a toy. Go find a toy. Okay. My squared. That got a lot of love. That got a lot of love. I don't even remember where I was last time. I know that I did the tutorial on the first joining of the squares, and then I think in the last episode I must have been somewhere around section 6 because I remember that I had pointed out, let's go back down to section 6, that I had not ended these first 3 sections, ended on a wrong side row because the pattern read to repeat rows 1 and 2, which would put you to the right side row. And I did go over that at the end of the last episode, that you need to end each of your squares on a wrong side row, ready to knit a right side row. Okay. So that's where we were at. How I've been doing this is, excuse me, this weather is making everyone sick. I am fighting off a cold, which I think we've been sharing around this house. And I think it was my turn now. If you've been with me for a while, you might remember that marled magic that, yeah, it wasn't pretty, okay? It wasn't pretty. It wasn't the pattern. It was my sense of, or lack thereof, of color. And I really went over the top. And there was no saving that thing. There was just no salvaging it. First of all, I had had a lot of mohair with it, and it was knit in pieces, so ripping it was useless because all I would have had was little threads here and there. I threw it out. That was the end of it. I mean, it was orange, it was purple, it was green, it was hard, it was horrible. And I was determined with this one that that was not going to happen again. I took the color confidence class with Andrea Mowry, and I did learn a lot about color in that. I didn't want to go all neutrals, but I didn't want to be walking around looking like Joseph's Technicolor Dreamcoat. So what I've been doing with this is I did pick a palette, a basic sort of palette of things that went together. I did not wind all of the skeins at once, and I also had the leftovers from my Find Your Fade. So I knew that those, you know, and I had a good amounts of some of them, so I knew that they would blend together because I didn't pick them, someone else did. So I had that to work with as well. And what I did, and I think the reason this is taking a little bit longer, is some of the sections I start to knit with two colors held together that I think will work, and I decide I'm not loving it. And if I don't love it, I rip it out because there's too much invested in this at this point for me not to love what I've done. So here's what I have, and I'm actually going to stand up. Wait, I'm tangled here. Here we go. All right. Chair noise. Noise. It's awful. I've done, what have I done here? We've done the bottom 3 squares, and this is essentially the back. And here you can see is the split for the neck. Okay. And I finished this side over here. And this was a color I added when I went to Argyle Yarn Shop in Brooklyn. I saw a skein of Guppy that I had seen before, and it had a lot of orange in it, and I wasn't sure it would fit in. Now I do have some gold in here, and I do have some orange. You can see down at the bottom there were orange that could be picked up, but I was afraid that one was too much orange. But when I saw it again, I was like, you know what, I have to work this in. And I ended up putting it with I don't have the colors with me, with the Vogue Knitting color from Do You Knit that I got at Vogue Knitting Live, and I think it muted the orange beautifully, and I absolutely love that square. And then next to it, I put, I don't know, I think it's Piggy Bank with, oh, this one is actually, I don't remember the colors, but this I mixed mohair with the 50-50 cashmere merino. This one is so soft. It is so soft. And then over here, I did the smaller section, and I'm literally at the last 2 or 3 rows of the other front section where you split for the neck. So I actually, since I finished that, have not put this on. Let's see if I can do that. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Clang. Okay, So essentially, that's what we have so far. Okay. Why not? We'll stand back on the chair again. Ugh, because I'm so darn short. Now, on most people, it's not going to come this long. Okay, because most people are 5 feet or taller. They're not fun sized. But I was really, for me, that's fine. I'm happy with it long. I'm used to things dragging and being long on me. So that's how long it's going to be in the back, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same length in the front. This will have an I-cord border going all around it. I'm already stuck. Look at this. I'm a hot mess. I am a hot mess. So this is the front, and then I believe there's a small square here, and then 2 small squares here, or something to that effect, or this size square but shorter, to finish it off. So I'm almost done. I think I have 4 more color choices to make, and I'm probably going to put more pink in the front. I know I will put a lighter blue somewhere, so I'm going to use this blue again, which I think is a merino. This is mixed in something with the 50-50 merino cashmere. And I do have enough of that left over for a smaller square in the front, so I will put that probably over here to lighten this one up a little bit. I do have a lot of colors to pick from, but this has just been such a fun knit, and I've really, really been enjoying it. Look how I did that better. I didn't make that big noise. Oh gosh. All right. I do have to say there is a lot of mohair. I added mohair, and I added the cashmere merino yarn to it, which I thought lightened it up a little bit, because had I done this all in doubled skinny singles, this would be kind of heavy, and you can even feel the difference in the weight between the mohair section and the other ones. So I did add this one here. This has piggy bank in mohair. I think this one is also piggy bank, and I believe this one is a skein of teacup mohair, and I think this one I'm holding with cereal. So this I think is teacup and cereal. The other ones I truly don't remember what the heck they were. Some of them were club colorways. This is a super fun knit. If you have a lot of stash yarn that you want to use up, skeins that you want to use up, this is just a great, great way to do it. It is not a difficult knit. Again, I think the most confusing part was to just figure out how to do the initial join. It's joined the same way all throughout. I did put up the tutorial on that, and I also put up at the end of last episode to make sure that you put that you end all of your colored sections, actually all of your sections, on a wrong side row, to avoid, because you'll see on mine I have, oh God, I got mohair everywhere, my mouth, every place. Ugh, God. That's really the only thing that'll trip you up. I have a small row, 1 row of stockinette on 2 of my sections. I'm not ripping. I mean, that's like and I've said it. If someone sees it, then they're probably standing too close. So that is all of my knitting. That's what's been keeping me busy. I've really been kind of obsessed with the squared. I really want to get it done because, oh gosh, I'm covered in mohair. I'd like to wear that as a spring jacket. I think it would be great. So when that's finished, I will intensify the work on those 2, get those done. So that's it for knitting. Spinning, I have a finished object. I do. I finally finished plying the hip strings in the rose quartz colorway, and I'm actually going to put this on pause for a second because I want to get the exact fibers. When I was just winding this off, I saw the tag and I said, bring it in, bring it in, remember to bring it in. I didn't bring it in. Okay, but this time I did. And this is hip strings in the rose quartz colorway. It was 4 ounces. I purchased this last summer at SSK, and I believe hip strings will be there again. And I can only say that her prep was fabulous. This was such a pleasant spin that I shouldn't have let it drag on too long. This is 75% of 23 micron merino wool, which is, if you spin or if you're familiar with the terminology, the fineness of the wool is determined in microns. With the higher the microns, the softer the wool, I believe is the way it goes. No, it's the other way. It's the other way. 23 microns is pretty fine. let me phrase it that way. It's a pretty fine merino. So it's very, very soft, definitely next to the skin. And it's 25% viscose from roses. And viscose is a plant fiber. And I guess, I'm assuming it can be made from pretty much any plant source, but to make it from roses, that I had never heard of, and the name is rose quartz. And I have to say that when I first opened the package and began to spin it, it did have a very light rose scent to it, which it didn't, it wasn't overwhelming, and it has since long gone away. This has not been washed yet, but this is my 3-ply. This is a true 3-ply. I did not chain ply this one. I wanted to get a true 3-ply, and I was really, really happy with how this came out. I spun this on my Lendrum. Let's see if you can see. And I also plied it on the Lendrum. And I'm going to say, Tim, I think this is sport weight. Let's go with a sport weight. I have no clue how many yards are here because I really don't have any way of accurately measuring it. I've tried counting the strands from the Nitty Knotty and multiplying it out, and I don't think that was too accurate. I have that McMoran balance, which I've discovered if you put the thread on enough times, you can pretty much get its balance anywhere, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. I need to get a yardage meter. So if anybody has any recommendations for a good yardage meter, that would be, I totally would appreciate if you put that in the comments section below, because I really would like to start knitting with some of this, but I'm afraid to pick a project when I have absolutely no clue how many yards I have. But again, this I think spun up really, really nicely. And again, it has not been washed, but it's slightly over twisted, which should definitely come out when I wash it. So this made a pretty balanced yarn. And I was pretty pleased with how consistent, considering it was a 3-ply, it came out. So that is my, God, it took me long enough. You'd think it would be perfect, right? I mean, when you take that long to spin, you would expect it to be perfect. But perfect we didn't go for. We just went for usable. So there you have it. A finished spinach object. I hate spinach. Anybody who knows me knows that we don't even say that word. Spinning object. So that's my spinning. I'm not sure what's on the spinning horizon. I think what I'm going to begin next is that patchwork kit that I got from Hello Yarn. I actually think I have 2 of them. And Laura of the Knit Girls really explained how she is making. I'm sure you all watch the Knit Girls. God, I love those girls. If you're not watching the Knit Girls, turn me off right now and go watch the Knit Girls, because they are just the best. Laura is knitting this magnificent blanket from I think it's 2 patchwork kits. What a patchwork kit is from Hello Yarn is she takes bits and bobs from her club colorways and she matches them. I mean, you're not going to get all the same colors in there, but she tries to match like color themes and colors that'll go together into 1-pound bags. So essentially you get like little ounce clouds of comb top that come together in a 1-pound bag. And Laura explained, I'm looking at this bag going, oh my, given my color sense, I see where this is going. We're going to end up with clown barf here. But Laura is making the most magnificent blanket out of her patchwork kit that she spun and chain plied. And she explained how she did it, how she separated out the colors so that they blended and you could clearly see the colors and they blended in a way that made sense. It's just stunning. If you, like I said, if you haven't seen it, go watch them. She did show it in the most recent podcast that they did. And I'm thinking, I could try that. I could try that. So that's, I think, what I'm going to work on next. Not for a blanket. I don't have that much guts. But I would even do it for the yardage. And then maybe make like a gradient type shawl or something along those lines. I'm not even going to think about that. I'm going to get past the spinning part first, see what I end up with, and then decide. So that's what's on the spinning horizon. So that's it for that, which brings me to stash enhancement or enabling, however you wish to talk about it. Actually was pretty good considering how long it was. It's been over 2 weeks, so it was pretty good. Last week I had mentioned that I had ordered, and it hadn't come in yet, from Do You Knit, the colorway. She had just gotten it in that morning that I recorded, and it was the colorway Anemone. And it is the colorway used in this sweater, which is called Anemone. It is a pattern by Vera Valimaki. And again, I thought this was just the perfect spring-summer sweater. There, I think that's a much better shot of it. And I loved the coral color. It is so not in my wheelhouse that I had to do it. I had to get that colorway. And I loved the fact that it's asymmetrical. I loved the fact that it's got like that loose bottom on it. It was just everything about this sweater just sang to me. So I ordered the yarn, and I'm telling you, I don't know if that woman like drives by my house from New Jersey or if she just flings it and it lands here like the next day. It's unbelievable. But I did get my 3 skeins of Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in the Anemone colorway. And it's just so, so pretty. I just think this is the perfect spring-summer color. And again, it's so not in my wheelhouse that I had to do it because I'm getting out of my wheelhouse. So that came in the interim. So I'm not going to call that this week because I actually purchased it technically before the last podcast. I was just waiting for it to come, so we don't count that. If you ever want to justify something, just call me, ask me, I'll tell you. My trip to Brooklyn, the Argyle Yarn Shop. First of all, I went in on, I think it was a Saturday, just a random Saturday, decided, you know, I really want to knit this Darlene sweater. I looked at local yarn stores that carry Quince & Company. That was the one I came up with. I was like, all right, it's early enough. I'll take a ride to Brooklyn. And I bumped into a friend of mine that I have not seen in a very long time. That was worth the trip alone. So hi, Marisol. Maria, I'm sorry I didn't get to see you. I hope I will see you soon. Maybe at Rhinebeck, I will get a chance to see you both. So that was a real treat. But I did not stop at the Quince & Company that I went in for. They also happen to have Hedgehog Fibers. I think that's where I got the teacup in the mohair. I came home with 3 skeins. And here's the explanation. I wanted to add green into my squared. And this lime green caught my daughter's eye. And I'm going to get you the colorway name in a second. It is called, what is it called? Envoy. And I did like it. I mean, I said, you know, wow, that's a nice bright color and whatnot. And of course, I had to get this skein because it went with it beautifully. But I went to put it in my squared and I wasn't loving it. I don't know if it was just too bright. There is green in there. Again, I didn't want to be a walking Technicolor coat. I tried this with a couple of different ones. I did not try it with this one because, again, I thought, you know, it's just going to bring out the green even more. So I decided that, you know what, these two go together so beautifully that I'm just going to make something with these two. There's just no point in pushing it or whatnot. If I don't love it, I'm not going to use it. I love the colors together so much that I'd rather just pick something and use these two, not held together, but use them together in a project. I think they go beautifully. This colorway is Pesto? Pesto. So this is Envoy and Pesto. I picked up and I love them, and I actually I can't remember the name. There was an Andrea Mowry pattern that called for 3 colorways, and this actually has a lot of pops of pink in there. So I don't know. I'm trying to keep my colors, if I go with a lot of them, like as in the squared, to blend them a little more cohesively than I did from that Marl Magic. I learned from that experience. So again, I know these two go together. I know they will make something bright and something really, really pretty, but it didn't fit in with my squared. So I did, these are two new skeins, so we added those to the stash. Those were the ones that I couldn't find, by the way. I got my Loops Club. My monthly Loops Club, and this month was really, really fabulous. This was an amazing club. I don't know, did I show this last week? I don't know. I don't know if I did or I didn't. Well, I'll show it again if I did. This month we got a skein of Wool & Boone yarn in the Boone Classic 4-ply fingering sock, 435 yards in the Blossom colorway. The pattern is called Put a Ring on It, and there's in each month of the Loop Club, you get 2 patterns. You get, geez, what did I knock over now? I'm like already dripped on myself. Like, okay, we're already a hot mess. You get a knit pattern and you get a crocheted pattern. And also what Shelly does, Shelly is the owner of the Loops store, which is located in Tulsa, Oklahoma, is she also researches through Ravelry other patterns that if you don't like the 2 that came with the kit, other patterns that call for the same yardage, same type of yarn or whatever that you can make with the yarn that you get. So that's always nice. And she included this month, I'm sure you've all seen these. I actually had one. I believe I showed it once before. These wrist rulers, which are really super cool. I'm not even going to try to get it on, and I don't know if these come in ridiculous baby size, but that's what I would need because this is it doubled, and I mean, my wrist is so normal. Okay, all right, we're going to give up on it. Anyway, the point of this is you wear this as a bracelet. Okay, I'm not even going to try to close it, but that's how it goes. And you always have your little ruler with you. And I think it's really cute. I actually have a dark brown one. This thing's going to kill me. Slam me in the face twice already. All right, get back in your box. Get back in your little box here, okay? Get in there. Come on, you can do it. All right, just don't hit me in the face again. Okay. So that came with the kit, which was really, really a nice extra in there. And my Lola, Lola's Choice kit came. Lola's Choice is a monthly kit from Laura Nelkin, which Laura has her N Club now. It used to be the M Club, now it's the N Club. Those are larger projects. And this year, I think instead of 4, it's now 3 shipments. But the Lola's Choice is a monthly subscription, but you're not locked in. You can do 1 month, you can do a 3-month subscription, you can do 1 and skip 1, you can do it bi-monthly. It's really up to you. And what these are is, instead of the larger projects that her N Club kits are, these are smaller knits, just sort of quick knits, accessory type projects. And this one is called Like a Cowl, and the yarn is Spun Right Round. She always picks the most amazing yarns. Most of the colorways are exclusive colorways. This is called Crowded Cloud. It's Sumptuous Sock, so it's 75/25. It's a mini skein, so it's 150 yards. And in the kit came, I mean, I'm a pen freak, but this one, this is a great pen. I really like this. And it's got the stylus on the end. And it says Lola's Choice Forever, your super fun knit club. And she always includes either candy or something along those lines. This is 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C dietary supplement. I probably should take this because I've been walking around with a sore throat and an earache for 2 days now. And it also includes the beads because this is a beaded project. So there's A beads and B beads, and it also comes with the pattern. Actually comes with a key code to download the pattern. So you can get it on Ravelry, you can get it in your library. If you are a dedicated Knit Companion user, as I am, you can have it put into your Knit Companion, which is great. So this actually, I think this is one that I'm going to knit up. I'm sitting with all of these kits, and I'm really, actually almost mortified because I haven't knit them. And it's mostly because I'm obsessed with what I end up knitting on, and then the next big thing comes along, and I really think I should try to take some of these, particularly from the Lola's Choice, because these are not knits that are going to take you weeks and weeks to knit up. So I think this may end up on the needles very shortly, and even as a take-along project, I think this would be a lot of fun. So that came. Now, while we're on the subject of Laura Nelkin has come out with a pattern called the Novelty Sweater. And she is doing this through Craftsy, and I believe the Grocery Girls, if you have Craftsy Unlimited, but I also think that this is on YouTube. They're doing a knit along for the Novelty Sweater. And the kit was on sale, and I believe it is still on sale at Craftsy. I ordered, and I hope I didn't make a mistake, I ordered the size small kit, and I think with the shipping and the whole thing, the kit came to like $30. It was not an overly expensive proposition. And that came with the pattern. I don't know, I haven't taken this out to see if there's a download code. That I don't know. But it came with their Cloudborn. So that's like Craftsy's proprietary brand of yarn. And it is super soft. Again, I haven't knit with it yet, so I can't speak to that. But it really feels very soft, very nice. It feels very similar to the Willet, the Quince & Company Willet. This is Pima Cotton DK. I got it in the soft pink colorway. So I will be joining in on that knit along because again, this uses Laura's Novus construction. Now, if you're not familiar with that, and I think you can pretty much see it from here, I did show it in my baby Novus sweater in a couple of episodes back, because that was a baby garment that used her Novus construction. And this t-shirt does exactly the same thing. And while it's hard to explain, it is not only not difficult to do, but there's no seaming on it because it's basically knit. You actually start right here. This piece right here, the sleeve, not this panel here. You start with just this stockinette sleeve. So your stitches are not going this way. Your stitches are going this way. So what I am going to say is you do need to swatch, and in this particular pattern, row count is actually more important than stitch count. Or I don't want to say more important, it's just as important, because your row count will determine the width of your sweater. So if you're borderline and you don't want your sweater like tight or huge width-wise, you need to be pretty close on your row count. But what you do is you knit up this little bit of sleeve, then you cast on for the body of the sweater, and you knit across while you split for the neck here. You knit all the way across, then you're going to bind off and knit that last side of the sleeve. You're going to do the same thing for the back. Then the magic happens and you start attaching with these panels. This panel goes all the way down and under the arm. Same thing on the other side. There's a panel that will join the front and the back, and then a panel that will join the front and the back across the shoulders. So it's a very interesting construction. I think there's going to be a lot of help with this on Laura's forum, the Grocery Girls forum, on Craftsy. So again, if you're interested in trying out her Novus construction, the kit, I really, honestly, I would recommend, I haven't knit with it yet, but just by feeling this cotton and having knit with some really bad cotton, I would say this is definitely a go. And the price point, you can't beat it. I mean, it really, this came with 4 skeins and the pattern, and like I said, with the shipping, I think, it was $30, and I think they had an even better deal where it's like everything was 60% off. So I think it actually, if I ordered another kit, would have come to like $25. So the price point is right. If you're interested in trying Laura's Novus construction, I would highly recommend this. This is a great, again, spring, summer, early fall t-shirt. It's 100% cotton. It's short sleeves. It's got those open sides. So I think no matter really how hot it is, I think this is like going to be the perfect thing to wear. So this is a very wearable item. And again, if you, I did do the Novus construction on the baby Novus. So that gave me a little confidence to go ahead and to feel a little more comfortable about doing this, because again, like I said, mentally, initially, it made absolutely no sense, but once you follow the pattern, it's absolutely brilliant, and it's exact. If you follow the pattern, which is not difficult, it works, and it works perfectly. And again, if any of you decide to try this, to order the kit, if you're having any difficulty, I think I figured out how to do the tutorials a little bit better, where to put the camera. I did make that trip to the camera store. Guy was very helpful. So I would be happy to do some tutorials on that. I think once I finish Millie, who I probably will work on later, I think I'm going to let Squared sit for a little bit and just finish off that sweater. I probably will cast on this one and work on this and the other one, because actually, if I were to finish this novelty sweater, because Laura is one of the instructors at SSK, that one would count too. So what I'm getting at here is, if anybody wants to join that knit along or is interested in trying out the Novus construction, and you need some help, or you would like to see a tutorial or something, put a comment in the comment section below, and once I get it started, I will be very happy to document my progress or help over the tricksy parts and help with that. The only other thing that well, no, there's two more things. I got my March Hedgehog Fiber Club colorways. I could do another squared and still have leftover for a sweater. I mean, I'm kind of getting a little saturated here. But these two colorways were just, I mean, they're so pretty. And they go together. She just tried to give you two colors that really, if you want to use them together, go together. I generally find I don't. But if I had gone with this kind of purpley pink in my squared, I would have had no problem knitting these two together. But purple was a color I kept out. I didn't go with purple and I didn't go with red. So I didn't use, I'm not going to use these with squared. But at any rate, these are, this blue one is called Airy Fairy. And this one is called Dolly. And it was so funny because the package came on a Monday, and the Saturday night before, I had just gone into the city to see Hello Dolly on Broadway, which was fabulous, by the way. If you're in New York and you're looking for a show to see, I know it's an old-time show, and it's not a new musical, but the production was probably one of the best I have seen. This was old-time Broadway at its best. I know I'm digressing, but it just was so funny to me that the following day, really, I get the colorway called Dolly, and this just epitomized it. I'm trying to think. Right now, it's starring Bernadette Peters and Victor Garber, who were just amazing in their roles. And if you've never gone to a Broadway show, or if you have gone to a Broadway show, I mean, I live in New York, I've gone to enough to say, this was the first time you could palpably feel how engaged the audience was. You could just see how much they absolutely loved Bernadette Peters and Victor Garber in those roles. And actually, I mean, my husband works in production, in video production, so he works with a lot of live events. He's done a lot of taping of shows and things like that. And even he said that they actually, broke what they call the fourth wall, which is really when the actors kind of interact back with the audience. In other words, they're not characters anymore, because there was just so much love pouring from the audience that they really felt, I guess, they had to sort of some way acknowledge it. So it was sort of almost like a funny kind of a moment, and it just was unbelievable. So if you're in New York, if you're in the New York area and you have a chance, I don't know if everybody is familiar, if you're not from this area, there is a booth that is, and I'm totally going again off kilter, but I have to plug my city. There is a booth that is in Times Square. It's not hard to find if you're in the heart of Times Square. I don't have the exact location of it, but I can link it below. It's called TKTS. And most New Yorkers, most people who are familiar with having gone to shows or whatever, are familiar with that booth. Now, we had gotten the tickets as gifts for our anniversary, so fortunately we didn't have to stand out in the cold because it was cold that night. I'm trying to think, I think that was like the night we were expecting snow or whatever it was. But anyway, TKTS is a place where you can go just before a show. I'm not sure how long before, like an 8 o'clock show, if you go there like at 6 o'clock, they're open. And whatever tickets haven't sold for any particular show, they will have a list of what tickets and what seats are available. And they're generally half price or highly discounted from the full price tickets. So if you're in the mood to go to see a show, and you don't have tickets, or it's a last minute thing, let's go see something, it's really worth going to the TKTS booth and seeing what they have available. There's no guarantee. And obviously, if a show is sold out at the box office, they're not going to have anything available. But that's kind of the, you know, Hamilton, I don't think you would find that there. There's a couple of really popular shows, but you know, things that have been around for a while, you can usually score tickets at a very good price for that. And who knows, you know, if you go and you try something, you may, I mean, last summer I went to an off-Broadway show that I never heard of, nobody ever heard of, and I loved it. Unfortunately, it's not around anymore, so otherwise I would give you the information. So that's my little side note, and I just thought it was very odd that the colorway Dolly just happened to come the next day. The only other two things that I picked up, and I picked them up at the Argyle Yarn Shop while I was there. We know I have a thing for enamel pins. So I got this one, which is a heart that says wool. And I have to say, I've been really holding off not putting them on my bag so that I would remember to show them. And the other one is from the Argyle Yarn Shop. It's their logo, which I thought was really, really cute. And I had gotten one when I went to Brooklyn General, the Brooklyn General store. So I got those two pins, and that's it. Okay, that's it. That's all she wrote. That is my 2.5 weeks of snow and cleaning, and that's it. Trying to think. I don't think I have anything else to share with the class. I just would like to say a big, huge welcome to any new viewers that we have out there. Oh, there is one thing that I want to mention, particularly to new viewers. We have, it's the last week, I had started January 1st a knit along, and we called it New Year's Cal. We, meaning the royal we. There's nobody here, it's me. But a bunch of us had wanted to knit the Comfort Fade cardigan. And so we were going to do that as a knit along, and then I decided, you know, a lot of people may not be into knitting a whole cardigan, and why limit it? And, you know, why not just open it up? So I did. So basically the rules were you had to be a member of the group, and you had to have cast it on January 1st. If you did it the 31st, no one's going to tell. And finish it by March 31st. So essentially it's a first quarter cal. And I just noticed this morning that we have a comfort cardigan cal finished. Yes, Pam, congratulations. I saw your gorgeous cardigan. You saw it through. I failed. I don't know anybody else that finished the cardigan, but you nailed it, sweetie. You got it, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So if you go on the thread, you can see all of the finished objects, and there are some beautiful ones in there. There are some hats. There are, I believe there's a blanket, some really nice things. So if you have knit and finished anything that you cast on after the 1st, and if you knit it by the 31st of March, put a finished picture in that thread and make sure you're a member of the group. And I've been keeping secret, still not, you know, haven't picked exactly what I want to give away for that. But since this is like the first cal that we've had more than 2 entries on, I really want to pick something really special, because this means a lot to me, that a lot, you know, I've seen more participation and people really jumping on board and enjoying it. So that's what it's all about for me. So I wanna find just the right thing. So I'm not letting that cat out of the bag yet. But I will close the thread probably on the 1st. So get your finished objects up and posted, a picture of your finished object, what you knit, whatever, in the thread by the 31st. And I will lock that thread probably on the 1st. But I probably won't draw until I record next. Now, I hope to record, today is Sunday the 25th. I really would like to record again, and I don't know that I'm going to have all that much to show, but I'm going to try to record again Friday. If not, then likely Sunday. And I'm trying to think, Sunday, I think then is the 2nd. So I guess I will be drawing then on the 2nd. My point is that the holiday is in between there, and then Sunday is Easter. So probably Sunday or Monday. I'm not exactly sure. But I will close the thread on the 1st. So get your finished objects in there. Join us in the knit along. Doesn't matter what you knit. It could be anything as long as you are a member of the group and you cast it on after the 1st or 31st. We won't tell. And that's it. So I am looking outside and actually see the sun, which is nice. I still see snow. I don't see any deer. That's been a whole nother issue back there in the woods, but the sun is shining, and I do see some what look like maybe daffodils coming up. So hopefully spring is springing where you are, and I am hoping that it will be springing here soon. So I will say goodbye until, like I said, hopefully, probably by Sunday or Monday of next week, I will get a chance to see you again. We will draw for our knit along. And until then, please remember to knit with sense.